Hello, and welcome to another episode of Brenda's Musings. So today I want to look at how being optimistic versus pessimistic can affect your life. And there are a gazillion different ways, but I'm just going to look at a couple. So let's look at opportunity. So if you see an opportunity in front of you, or even if you think about an opportunity in front of you, and if you have an optimistic frame of reference, then you tend to look at it as something that is going to be a positive step in your life. It's something that you can tackle and attack in a positive, life fulfilling kind of a way. And if you have a pessimistic frame of mind, you might think of it with fear, with trepidation, with suspicion, and you might not want to take action. If this opportunity presents itself and the positive person jumps right in and the situation turns sour, then the positive person generally will look at it with, in terms of lessons learned. What did I learn from this experience? How can I make sure this doesn't happen again? So they're looking at lessons learned. They're looking at ways maybe they can flip the situation around. They're looking for opportunities within the failed opportunity. A pessimistic person might be more apt to throw up their hands or say, "See, I told you so," or "I knew this wasn't going to work," or, they might even go as far as like a conspiracy theory. This didn't work because of X, Y, or Z, and throw the blame on someone or something else. And when things turn sour, as sometimes they do, that's part of life, then having the right people around you to help you reframe or fine-tune your state of mind is important. So the optimistic person will tend to seek out help, will tend to look for mentors, will tend to look for people who have gone through this before and who have turned things around, will tend to set out an action plan. Here are the steps I want to get to here. I want to get to, this end point. Here are the steps that I need to take. And they'll set out an action plan and they'll go about it. A pessimistic person isn't as likely to ask for help because they look at this failed attempt as just that, as a failure in a very personal way. They weren't up to it. They didn't know what they were doing. It was just all this self-berating talk. And so they're not as apt to even reach out for help. So their chances of being able to turn something around or to take something positive from the negative is much less. And I think that's a shame. I really do. But there are both of those frames of mind. And sometimes the most optimistic person can have those moments of pessimistic thoughts. And sometimes, although it's not as likely, not as often, I wouldn't suspect, the pessimistic person might have optimistic thoughts. I think having the optimistic thoughts going through the process, if things are working out well, I think is more likely. But if something turns sour, I don't think the pessimistic person generally is going to be looking for the silver lining. So when an opportunity presents itself, just stop for a moment and think about how you're going into it, how you live your life. Are you generally an optimistic person or are you a pessimistic person? And if you really want this opportunity to work out for you, then even if you're a pessimistic person generally, try to look at it from an optimistic person's point of view and try to keep that optimism alive all throughout, even and particularly if things go south. And that's my musing for the day. Have a great one, everyone.